Hiya folks, it's Monday lunchtime and I'm on my way to Kendal, but I'll explain that in a second. So I've had some feedback on last week's vlog saying that this is the preferred format. So here we are, we're going to do another full week of vlogging and then upload it on a Friday. Now, I woke up this morning and realised that I'd done somewhere around a 14-day stretch. I think might be a little bit longer, but I've stood over the bathroom sink this morning thinking, Jesus, I'm knackered. I need a day off. Went downstairs, spoke to the missus, who in her infinite wisdom was like, dude, just take it easy, relax, have a chill. So I set off this morning. We're at lunchtime now. Set off this morning chilling, managed that for about 45 minutes. Then I started to do some emails and some bits and pieces, answer some messages, and then I realised that actually I'm rubbish at just sitting and doing nothing. So here I am on my way to Kendal. I live in Penrith, so Kendal to Carlisle is much of a muchness to me. It's half an hour away from my house, whichever one I decide to go to. But the reason that I'm coming to Kendal is there was a bike shop opened here on the north edge of town, called Lake Cycles. It opened up last year. It hasn't been open that long, but I kind of realised I haven't been to check it out, and that's a bit weird. You know, a new bike shop opens, got some cool stuff in, and I haven't checked it out and been to meet the guys there. So yeah, as opposed to kind of sitting, I can't sit and watch TV, but just sitting around. I am kind of still having a day off. It's slightly work related, but it is what it is. So I've got here, and like a douche, I haven't checked opening times. Lake Cycles is closed on a Monday. It's also closed on a Sunday, interestingly enough. So I don't know, it's up to them. They shut Sundays and Mondays. So screw this, let's do something else. Right, so I've just had a bit of a moment here. I've realised that today is the 13th of February, meaning that Valentine's Day is tomorrow. It is the 13th of February, I'm not going mental. No, Monday the 13th of February, so Valentine's Day tomorrow. Not getting the missus a Valentine's card and something it's a super bad idea. So maybe it is a good idea that I got out the house today, because I've remembered to do this. Let's sort this out. Right, well, as far as going to visit a new bike shop today goes, that was a total and utter failure. However, it did get me out of the house, and it did make me realise that tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and at least I body swerved a right carry on there. You can say I love you to your wife for free every day, and it just so happens that tomorrow's the one day that you've got to pay to do it. Strange, I don't know. It is what it is. So my mate Terry's moved home from Manchester, so I'm going to go and visit him tonight, and also visiting the in-laws as well. So man, and then back up to go and do some more building tomorrow. I mean, it's a good job I've remembered about Valentine's today, because I don't think I would have had time. And imagine the fuss and the carry on that would have caused. Right, Tuesday. So the key to this is I've got a drawing that I did over the weekend about how I think this build's going to go. What we're really going to see today is how much the drawing's going to match the practicality of building. So might be a little bit of tape measure work needs to be done. There might be it's certainly going to need to be some bark stripping being done anyway, and yeah, we can find out how this is going to match up and work, and how the build's going to go from here. That's Ando turned up to get rid of the grey squirrel critters. Essentially the next couple of days are going to be all about, can I make something that's on a drawing marry in with the reality of what's built over there. What we've got is on paper form. On paper form, this is roughly where we're at now. Obviously I've got some drawings in of the stanchions in to stiffen it up, but that's certainly where we're going to be in the next couple of days. Then we've got to get these covered over with smaller logs and lats, and then we've got to go over and dirt and over the top so that we can then get that smooth transition that runs through. So all good on paper. Let's see if we can make it marry in with reality. Right, well, where we're at now is these things have all got notches in them, and I've sat in the top of this this cross member log here. The reason that that's good, and I'm pleased that that's done, is because now when I start to work on underneath it and putting trusses in and stuff, I know that these aren't going to slide around on the top because they're securely in place. So that's Tuesday, or Valentine's Day as some like to call it. Notching out with the chisel and everything, and it's a bit of a tedious job, but that part of it's done now, and it means that I can basically put the trusses up a bit better, well, without worrying tomorrow. What I've got on paper does look like it's going to marry into the real build, which is great. It means that I've remembered it all properly when I've been sat there on Sunday drawing it up. So yeah, tomorrow is about kind of putting some of those trusses in place and strengthening the whole build up a bit, so that frankly we can jump up and down it on bikes. Morning folks, it's Wednesday morning, it's midweek, February. Like a really nice day for February, to be honest. It's midweek, and for that reason, and just the other reason that I just feel like it, we're going to press the pause button and make a reassessment of just what we're doing here. Recently I watched this video about a guy who he bought a Porsche 911 from like 1987, and it was an absolute rat box. He had to, the bodywork was shot at, he basically had to put new panels in and have them rebuilt because he couldn't source any. He changed the engine completely, he ended up turboing it, put a whole new braking system in, put modern electrics in. It was like a 3-year build. Just didn't make any sense, you know, from a practical point of view. It's a 30-year-old car. Basically, it's nothing like the 30-year-old car that it used to be, except from the outside it looks the same. It looks like a 1987 Porsche, but completely modernised and kind of totally impractical for the time and effort and money that he spent on it. He could have had a modern sports car, brand new out of the dealership, that would outperform it, and would have probably have been cheaper and less time, labour intensive. But if he'd have gone out and bought a brand new sports car, would it have been as cool? Would the end result have been? Would he have been in the same place? Would he have the same feelings about it? No, is the answer. Is the easy answer. It just wouldn't be half as cool, because damn, that Porsche was class. I ended up drawing a lot of similarities between myself and the guy who built that Porsche. Like I say, it wasn't practical to do. It took him ages to do it. He basically bought the car and pretty much ran out of budget straight away after it. So loads of the work had to be done himself. He had to learn a load of new skills in order to produce parts and pieces. He had to learn how to machine stuff. But it was a way for him to get it done, and ultimately at the end of the day he got what he thought was cool. Now there'll be some other people around the world like me that went, oh my god, you're right, that is so cool, and there'll be a bunch of other people that'll look at it and go, why didn't you just spend 60 grand on a Nissan GTR? It's a better car, more practical, it comes with warranty, you know, for all the sensible reasons. If my daughters are watching this, I'm probably going to ask you to disregard this next part of the video. But for some people out there, practical and sensible equate to sterile, and they're not able to draw those same kind of feelings out of those kind of objects or projects. And I feel the same way. It's building something like this on your own, with no budget, practical or sensible. Hell no. He's building this bike park on your own all the same things, practical or sensible. No, it's just not a good idea. But it's not a good idea on the practical stroke sensible side of things. If you want to wake up every day and think I am involved in something that I think is incredibly cool, and you want to have that feeling every day, personally, money can't buy that feeling for me, but it's absolutely the right thing to do. Now, this project is very much something that's kind of coming up out of the ground and changing and evolving the whole time. I've still got to get my all my struts and things in today, but you know, it's something that I love doing, and it's something that I can't wait to use once it's built. Probably much the same as that guy with his Porsche that he did. But yeah, practical and sensible, they don't equate into GNAR bike park at all. But cool, bucket loads. Okay, so it's 4 o'clock. It is starting to get a little dark, but at least this time of night you can still see what you're doing. It wasn't that long ago when it was black dark at 4. What we've got in here is the initial first round of braces. So this is essentially just to make sure that nothing can move around and everything's held in place, and basically just so that stuff doesn't move while you're working with it. First round of braces, it does mean that there's many more rounds to go. Want to tighten everything up, but for now, you know, it's okay. And at least I know nothing's going to move overnight. Anyway, it's late Wednesday. You'll get a better look at this tomorrow morning. So we're on Thursday. The weather's not quite as nice today. It's dry, but it's a little bit grey. It's not windy though, so that's going to help with the log work that we've got to do today. And I need to take out some smaller bits and pieces to do some more of the cross members. But we'll tidy those up, get them in, and crack on with the rest of it. This build seems to be coming on pretty well. It's a big build, but it seems to be working okay. I've had a couple of moments, especially sort of yesterday, where I've had to kind of put my head back in drawing board mode and decide how it's going to be best done. But fairly confident I've got a good plan for it now, and we'll get you over there and have a look. We got caught with a bit of a rain shower there, so for the past kind of hour it's just showered it down. So I've just been over to try and make sure that I can get my 12 footers organised and which ones I need. So we're up the top of the, I'm stood up on the top of the takeoff ramp at the moment. What we're trying to get to is, if you can see the 4 logs on the main downslope of the landing that have already been stripped, you can see 3 gaps in between those. It's about finding the right materials to fill up those gaps and provide a bit of a surface. So yeah, as I say, excuse me, just come back and had a kind of pop. I've just been avoiding the showers by, well, not avoiding them, but at least I haven't been standing still in them, and just sorting out some lengths. So I'm going to get those squared up now, and we'll try and get them in place down in here. And really it's a case of suck it and see how many that we get in and see how many we need to fill it up. Might have to go again on the bracing. I might have to change the style of bracing a little bit with these infills, but that's no biggie. The bracing is kind of, it's quite organic. The more that you put in and the more that you notice if it's moving, then the more bracing it needs. Currently none of that moves, which is great, but as we add more to it, it's probably going to start to find some loose spots. Anyway, I'm rambling now because I've got a bit cold. So we're going to crack on and I can get warmed up. Thursday lunchtime, still spitting, drizzling a bit. I thought I was going to work right through till like 5:30, well till the light went tonight, but because I thought my mother and father-in-law were picking the girls up, but just had a phone call to remind me that no, they're not, because they've got a hospital checkup for my father-in-law. Now I'm going to level with you, that's not the worst news that I could have all day. It means finishing early and going home and hanging out with the kids. Now I'm pretty knackered. It's a miserable day. I am just running out of the chainsaw, starting to feel heavy basically, and that's always a bit of a worry when you're not completely in control of it. So yeah, not the worst thing that could happen, but still a couple of hours to go yet before I need to go and pick up the kids. Right now we've got some logs laid out. There's not enough of them, and frankly they're not in the right order, but there's some there. I know I said I had kind of promised myself, I was talking about going crossways with the logs because doing it this way are the longer lengths and they're really heavy, but for whatever reason I decided to say screw it, I'll just lift them, and yeah, I'm maybe going to regret that later on tonight. Essentially what I've got at the moment isn't much more than just a pile of logs, and it's not even got as many logs on here as it needs, but as I said before, it's coming up to 3 o'clock. I'm going to have to call it a day now to go and pick up the kids, but yeah, this wasn't really the way that I'd originally chosen to do it, because it's harder, but it's actually going to work out in the long run the preferable way to do it. Once I'm going to brace all of these from the underside as well, and do them in cross braces, so it is actually the strongest method of doing it. You've got multiple shorter lengths when you run it that way, and every time you've got a cut, then you've got a stress area that you're trying to put a brace on, and you end up with stupid amounts of bracing. At least this way I can just crisscross and brace it in from the under back side, and then all of this can get covered with dirt and we can smooth it down and shape it to where we want. So yeah, it's a tough Thursday, but a good one as well. Let's kick tomorrow's ass. Friday, the day before opening for the weekend. So basically today we have to set aside the building on Electric Landlady and concentrate on checking the tracks. So I've got my tools with us, and we'll get out there onto the tracks, have a check over them. Obviously, you know, February, wintry conditions, nothing we can do about that, but we can certainly just make sure that everything's tickety-boo and running okay. The first thing I need to do before I start checking the tracks is to check this feeder. There's a grey sighted up at this top end of the car park, and I don't know if you can see that that's absolutely chock-a-block full, no movement. I'll scatter a little bit out. Let's see if that encourages anything. One thing that doesn't really seem to get talked about with this BTR tough rake is its weight. I mean, it's sturdy and a good construction and everything, don't get me wrong, but the fact that it's heavy, it just really helps when you've got like tamping down jobs. I realise I've not filmed much of today's activities, but I'm hot. To be honest with you, it's all just like rake and shovel work. Just untidying up, to be honest. I put a bit of stone in down at the bottom of the last launch of Get to the Chopper, just because that area had got a bit soft. You know, it's February, it is that time of year, these kind of things are being expected. You know, to be honest, I forgot to film doing those bits, but we're looking pretty much tickety-boo and ship shape ready for the weekend, but it definitely is brew time. So that was my Monday to Friday, folks. It's going to be the weekend tomorrow. Looking forward to that. if you're coming up, then let's do the usual, have a bit chat in the cabin. And I suppose there's been a bit of building going on this week. Today has been about just tidying up and making sure that everything's tickety-boo. So what's the plans for next week? Well, next week, I've had to write these dates down to make sure. Next week we're on half term, so I've had a few people ask me about, you know, when you're going to do some midweeks openings. Well, I've got kids, so it's not that easy, but actually they're off, and my wife's off as well for a few days, so that kind of makes life a little bit easier. So I'm going to be open midweek next week on Tuesday the 21st, Wednesday the 22nd and Thursday the 23rd. The reason that I'm not opening on Monday is that I'm actually going to ride my bike, and the reason I'm not open on the Friday is because I need to do this again and have a bit of a tidy around ready for the weekend. What's happening? Oh, I forgot to mention about this weekend. So this weekend we've got, coming up on Sunday, Ben from We Ride is hosting a coaching session here. Now, I'm not sure, so don't hold me to it, but I think there's a possibility that there might be a couple of spaces left. So this coming Sunday, if you want to get some coaching done and up your mountain bike game, then there's possibly, I mean, it's Friday now, it depends when you're watching this, there's a possibility that if you get him contacted by Saturday evening, that you might be able to squeeze yourself on and come up here and have some coaching at the place. I'll tell you what I'll do, I've got his card, so I'll just do a quick, I've got his We Ride card, so I'll just do a quick shot now so that you can press pause. There's all these details on there, so press pause now and you can get him contacted. Still no movement on that feeder. The stuff that I put out on the top, to be honest, the birds will have just taken. If it's squirrel activity, you can usually see things like remnants of stuff around, well, more than that, around the bottom of it. So I don't know, I mean, that's a good sign, to be honest, because although there was one spotted in this area, it means that it hasn't been back to the feeder, well, not recently. So next week, I do want to kind of keep these weekly vlogs going. I might not do next week because essentially there's going to be 3 days where I'm at the cabin. No, do you know what? I'll vlog. I'm going to ride on Monday, so I'll vlog that. I could vlog again on Friday, I suppose. Maybe do bits and pieces in the week in between. No, screw that. I will do it again next week. So it's Friday. Late Friday afternoon. I'll try to have this uploaded and online for Friday evening. To be quite honest with you, the editing and putting it up online is more work than it is bloody filming it. It's dead easy just talking to a black box on the end of a stick. But we'll try for that, and hopefully you can be watching this on Friday evening. So if you're riding this weekend, have a great time. If you're coming up here, I'll see you in 24-48 hours. Other than that, thanks very much for your time, folks. See you soon.